Hey, good morning and welcome to today's shir. Daf Yomi, Megillah, Daf Zayin, number 16. We have a great shir for you today, the best shir. And I think we're on our way to a new program over here. We ask a couple trivia questions on the daf before we start. See if you can come up with the answers before we get to them. Once we get to them, I hope you realize what the answer is. The first question today is, what was Haman's profession before he became an advisor to the king? Number two, which is greater, learning Torah or Pikuach Nefesh? Which pushes which away? Pikuach Nefesh, Talmud Torah. And the third question, which is greater, Avoda in the Beis Hamikdash or Talmud Torah? The last two questions will be answered Mirz Hashem with the Iyun Ben Sion. All right, so we're going to start from the third line on Ted Zayin and Aleph. L'nasi mo davar. The people told, the advisor, the king told, nothing is done with Mordechai for what he did. Amarava lo b'neisha oven as Mordechai. It's not because the attendants of the king of Achashverosh loved Mordechai. Ela b'neisha sona as Haman. Why did they say something favorable at Haman? Because they hated Haman. They were jealous of him. Heichin lo. He prepared for him. Seeming explanation of the pasuk is that Haman prepared the tree to hang Mordechai. Tana, the Brayta says lo heichin. He actually didn't say Mordechai heichin no Mordechai. He said lo heichin. He prepared actually for himself. It was sort of a nevuah that he's going to hang himself. He's going to be hung himself on the tree. Asa kain la Mordechai. You should do it for Mordechai. Amrle manu Mordechai. So Achashverosh should do this for Mordechai. He should treat him well. We're going to see what he did to treat him. Amalei Manu Mordechai. Haman said to Achashverosh, who's Mordechai? Amalei Yehudi, the Jew. Amalei Tuva Mordechai Yikab Yehudai. He said there's a lot of Mordechais that are Jewish. Amalei Hayoshev B'Shar HaMelech. He says the one who's sitting constantly in front of the gates of the palace. Amalei Sagilei. It's good enough if you give him one village or one river to collect taxes from. That's how you should reward him. He said that also, you're going to do what I say in the future. And afterward, we're going to see what you should do for him. But also give him the river and the village to collect taxes. Al top el davar mikol asher dibarta. Where is this reference to? From the word al top el davar asher dibarta. Don't take anything off from what you said. Even this. Give him whatever I'm going to say, the glory of riding on the horse, but also give him the village and the river to collect taxes. He took the royal garments and the horse of the king. He was looking for Mordechai. He saw that Mordechai was teaching Talmidim. He was telling them how to do kmitza for Korban Mincha in the Beis Hamikdash. You take your 3 middle fingers, take the flour out, offer that on his beach. Let Rabbanan came when the Chazi and Mordechai, the Apel Chable. Once he saw Mordechai, saw Haman who was coming to greet him, and he was holding the royal horse. Mirsas, he was very afraid. He thought he was going to come kill him. Amar Lahula Rabbanan, he said to the Talmidim, Hayrashia Lamiktal Nafshikas, he's coming to kill me. Zilu Makami to run away, so you also don't get killed. Bahi Shaisa Nizath Mordechai in order to pray for his life, he got up and he started davening. Asa Haman Yasavle Kamayu. Haman came and he sat in front of Mordechai. Va'orich the Salak Mordechai Lutzlusa, and he waited until Mordechai finished his davening. Amar Lu B'Mayaskisu. He asked the Talmidim, what were you learning about? Amar Le Bizman Shvei Samikdash Kayim, when Beis Hamikdash around, Man Demenadev Mincha Maisi Mali Kumse Tzulsa Mischaperle. Someone who brought a Korban Mincha would bring a kometz, 3 fingers full of flour, and he would get kapara through offering on his mizbeach. Amalu asa mali kumsi kimcha didchu v'dachi asara alpi kikri kaspa di. The little flour came and pushed away the 10,000 talents of silver that I wanted to give to kill the Jews. Amalei Rasha, Mordechai, when hearing this, said, Rasha, Eved shkan nachasm, Eved even nachasm. As we learned yesterday, that really Haman was a slave of Mordechai. He sold himself to Mordechai. So therefore, everything the slave owned, the 10,000 coins of silver, talents of silver, really belonged to Mordechai. Amar le kum lavush hani mani. So Haman told him, go wear these royal clothes. V'rachav haisusi, and ride on the royal king, the boilach malka. that the king wants you to ride it. Amar lei lo yachilna the ailina lebayvani eshkol mazaya. I can't do this until I go take a shower, wash myself off, and cut my hair. It's not appropriate to use the king's clothes and to ride on his horse when I'm not groomed, when my beard is not cut. Mordechai cut his beard, of course. He actually had it like me, exactly like me. He trimmed his beard. I trim with a 1. My trimmer is not so good anymore, so it looks like a 2. But I trim with a 1. So Mordechai also wanted to trim his beard. That's controversial what I'm saying. And he wanted to go use the spa, get a massage, go in the jacuzzi. So the Gemara says, Shadra Esther Vasartinu Lakule Bebani. Esther sent and she told all the bath attendants, the spa attendants, not to work anymore that day. Lakulu Umni, and all the people that gave haircuts shouldn't work anymore. I like Iu Lebebani, in order that Haman should be humiliated, he has to do it himself. I like Iu Lebebani. He went himself into the bathhouse of Aska and he washed him himself. He washed Mordechai. He put him in the jacuzzi. He washed his body by himself. Basically, he brought his scissors from his house. And he cut his hair himself. When he was cutting his hair, he gave a big groan and a big sigh. So Mordechai, why are you groaning? I was the most important person to the king. Yasar Tabas HaMelech, Achashverosh took off his signet ring and he gave it to him. Now I became Valani V'Safar, I became bathhouse attendant and I became a barber. Amalei Russia, Laf Safar Shakvar, Kartsum Haisa. You used to be a barber of the village of Kartsum. Tana Haman Safar Shakvar, Kartsum Haya. Indeed, the Bryson says he used to be a barber in the village of Kartsum, Esrim Mishtayim, 22 years. That, if you didn't realize, is the answer to the first question. The previous profession of Haman was a barber. After he cut his hair, he dressed him in the royal clothes. He says, go up on the horse and ride. He says, I can't get up myself. I'm very weak because of the fasting that I did. So Haman had to lower himself down and he got up on the horse by going on Haman's back. He saw like Bod Bay. While he was going up on Haman's back, he kicked him. Doesn't it say in the pasuk when your enemies fall down, you shouldn't be happy? That's my enemies, Jewish enemies. By going, you should trample them on their high places. And he called in front of him, this is what you should do to what the person the king desires, to honor him. When he was going on the street of Haman's house, the daughter of Haman saw him. She was standing on the roof. Must be the person who's riding the horse, or her father. The one leading the horse must be Mordechai, which is exactly the opposite. She took the toilet. They used to have urinals and toilets, a potty or whatever with the feces or whatever. She threw it on Haman's head. Her father said, she opened up her eyes. She actually threw it on her father's head. She committed suicide and died. Talking about suicide, there's a famous Jewish author of children's books, Chaim Walder, who apparently committed suicide yesterday. Various allegations were coming out against him of rape for over 20 years of young girls. Chaim Walder killed himself by his son's grave. It was not featured in Yeshiva World News. Apparently they didn't include that. I don't know why they didn't include that. I get Yeshiva World News. You have to open up the Jerusalem Post to see that. Wikipedia also. Anyway, she committed suicide also. Dali Ene, behind the Dechsev, Yeshav Mordechai Yashar HaMelech. Mordechai returned the gate of the king. Amar Sheshesh Yashav L'Sakal Taniso. When our first darshan the pasuk, he went back to fasting and sackcloth. That he's praying that the Jews should be saved. Haman Nirchav Al Beiso Abel Chafarosh. Haman went back to his house. Avel v'chav rosh. Avel, he was a mourner. Albito, his daughter died. V'chav rosh, his head was covered with feces. Al she'ira lo, what happened to him? He talked to his wife and all the people that loved him, and also says they were called chachamim. They called them people who loved him, apparently people that were smart. Even if you're a guy and you say something smart, you're still called a wise person. What do they say to him? If he's coming from other tribes of Israel, you could defeat him. But if they come from the tribes of Yehuda, Benyamin, Ephraim, Menashe, you won't be able to overcome him. It says by Yehuda that his hand will be at the back of the neck of his enemies. Enoch, the other three, they had the strength of Ephraim, Menashe, and Benyamin was aroused. What's this double lashon? Why is it emphasizes lashon? This nation, the Jewish nation, is compared to the dust of the earth, and they're compared to the stars. Jordan not offer. When they fall all the way down to the dirt of the earth. And when they arise, when they have prominence, they go all the way up to the stars. They become stars, like Hollywood, full of Jewish stars. So therefore, novel people, they either go really down or really up. They brought him quickly to the party. They brought him while he was confused. So Esther starts pleading to Achashverosh. This enemy, he doesn't care about hurting the king. He was jealous of Vashti. He ordered, as the Gemara said before, he ordered that she be killed. Now he's jealous of me. Esther, they wants to kill me. It said the word Vayomer twice. Why would I say it twice? He used to be talked to her on a translator. Came on the Amr Lame once he found out that she was Jewish, she came from the house of Shaul, so then she revealed a secret to him. So then he talked to her directly. She was, I guess, because she didn't reveal the secret, he sort of got back at her by always using a translator, an intermediary when talking to her. Once she revealed her identity, so therefore he talked to her directly. But Tomer Esther, first she said Ishtar v'oyev, and then she said Haman. So it sounds like first she was talking about somebody else. She was pointing at Achashverosh, Haman, and then the Malach came and redirected her hand to point to Haman. V'amelech kam b'chamaso, v'amelech shav meginas abita and makish shiva lakima. Two psukim next to each other. One that he got up, and then it says v'amelech shav. Two psukim, the psukim after that. Makish shiva lakima. It connects leaving to Shiva, returning to getting a makima b'chem. When he got up, he was angry. Af Shiva b'chem. Even when he returned, he was angry. What happened? The Azav Ashkach Malach Yeshar to Idmulei Gavri. He saw malachim that appeared as men. Only the busnei they were. When he went to the garden, they were uprooting the trees in the garden. What are you doing? Haman ordered that the trees should be uprooted. Asa the base when he came back to his house. Haman was falling on the bed. It shows that he fell. Previously, they had to plead with Esther. The malach came and he actually pushed her on Esther when Achashverosh was returning. Woe to Haman, what he does to me in my house and what he does to me outside my house. As the pasuk says, you want to conquer the queen from me, you want to take the queen away from me. Charvona was originally part of the contingency of Haman. He wanted to have the Jews killed. So once he saw that Haman was having his downfall, Miyad Baruch, he ran away from Haman and he joined the forces of Mordechai and he reported bad about Haman. When Hashem does bad to a Rasha, so his assistants are going to run away from him. Shachacha is with two kafs. Two calm down. He calmed down over two things. Lama. Why do you say that? One of Hashem got his anger dissipated and also the anger of Achashverosh. Alternatively, the Melech was calmed down, had a calming effect on him over what happened with Esther and what happened with Vashti. Lekulam nasan leish chalifos smalos leBenyamin nasan chamesh chalifos. The Gemara is going to get into as related to the story of Mordechai, but this is going back to the story of Yosef and Benyamin. He gave all his brothers, after they revealed himself to them, he gave them each suits. Benyamin, he gave 5 suits. After Davash and Starbo, so the Tzaddik Gemara asks, the Tzaddik, Yosef HaTzaddik, was caused a lot of pain because he was favored by his father Yaakov. He gave a Yichal Shabo, he will be stumbling on the same thing. How could that be? Amarav Bar Makasya, Amarav Chamar Guri, Amarav, top to the Zayin of Beis, B'Shel Mishkal Shnei Slayim Mila Shahosef Yaakov Yosef. He gave him the Ktonas Pasim, it had an extra 2 slime, an extra 2 slime weights of fine wool. And Yaakov gave Yosef Mishar Echav and made his brothers jealous of him. It happened that everyone left and they went to Mitzrayim. All the Jews went to Mitzrayim and they were enslaved there for 400 years, 210 years. Rem is the reason he gave him 5 suits. To tell him about what was going to happen with Mordechai. Someone's going to come from the shade of Benyamin, like we said before. Most days hold he was from the shade of Benyamin Mordechai. And he's going to go out in the royal clothes, 5 royal clothes. Now, Mordechai Yatzab Levush Malchus Tcheles, the kingly garments, Tcheles, Argamon. Listen in the pasuk, 5 types of royal garments. Vayipol al Tzavarei Benyamin Echav. He fell. The pasuk continues to darshan about the story of Yosef and Benyamin. He fell on the necks of Benyamin Echav. Kama Tzavar Havul. He only had 1 neck, but it sounds like he had 2 or more necks. So the Gemara says, the Benyamin, Amar Rabbi Elazar, Bach al Shnei Mikdashim. He was crying on the 2 bases of Mikdash. Asidin Lios B'Chaglash Benyamin. Asidin Licharev. They're going to be in the future in the portion of Benyamin, and they're going to be destroyed. Benyamin Bach al Tzavarov. And Benyamin also cried in his neck. And Yosef said, Bach al Mishkan Shiloh. Sha'asid Lios B'Chaglash Yosef. Asid Licharev Shiloh is going to be a temporary Mishkan. Was going to be in Yosef's portion, and it would be destroyed. V'hinei Nechem Rose. Benyamin. Again, we continue with the story. Amar Rebbe Lezer, Amar Lehem Kishem Shein Belibi Al Benyamin Achi Shloyah Mechirasi. Just like I have nothing against Benyamin, who wasn't for my sale. Kach Ein Belibi Alechem. So too, I have nothing against you. Kipi Amidaber Alechem. Kipi. What's the kid with a chaf? Kipi Kain Libi. Just like my mouth, really my heart also. I have nothing against you. Alavi Shalach Azos Asarach Amorim. He told him to get his father. He sent 10 donkeys, Nosim Mituv Mitzrayim, carrying the best of Mitzrayim. My Mituv Mitzrayim was the best of Mitzrayim. Amar Binyamin Bar Yefes, Amar Lazar, again the same. Amora Shalachol Yain Yashan, Shadaz Genim Nochem. I sent them old aged wine that appeases the minds of older people. Vayichul Gam Echa Vayiplu Lefanov. His brothers came and they prostrated themselves in front of Yosef. Amar Binyamin Bar Yefes, Amar Lazar, Hainu Damri Inshi Tala Beidnei Sagile. When a fox has his time, you should bow down to him. Even though a fox is less important than a human being, when he has his time, you should defer yourself, give kavod to the fox. Tala my Gemara says, how could that be? Why was Yosef a fox compared to his brothers? He was equal to his brothers. Itmar Hachi, if you want to say this teaching, Itmar Hachi, Itmar Vishtachu Yisrael Rosh Hamita. It says in the next parsha that Yisrael, Yaakov, his father, prostrate himself to Yosef. Amar Benyamin Yefes, Amar Lazar, Tala bin Sagale. There it makes sense. Tala, he was compared to his father. He was a fox, but since he rose to power and prominence in Mitzrayim, you should bow down to him. He brought comfort to them and he spoke on their hearts, to their hearts. He told them things which they accepted, which things which they're able to accept, they're able to appease them. What do you say? The 10 candles, my 10 brothers couldn't extinguish 1 candle. Me, how am I going to kill 10 arrows? How is 1 candle going to kill 10 neshamas? We continue with Darshan and Megillah. Yehudim have 4 languages of rejoicement. Amar of Yehuda Orazu Torah. They had extra learning of Torah. V'cheinu omer k'ner mitzvah Torah. Or Torah is referred to as light. Simcha is a Yom Tov. They made it into a day of Yom Tov. V'cheinu omer samachta v'chagecha. Simcha refers to Yom Tov. Sasan zumila. It's a day of Mila. They were mal begeir and people are misgair. V'cheinu omer sasan anochi al masecha. I'm joyous on what you said. Yikar elu tefillin. honor is tefillin. V'cheinu omer, they started wearing tefillin again. People were wearing it. V'cheinu omer, v'ra'u kol me'aretz kishem Hashem nikra alecha v'yiru mimecha. People will see something and they'll be afraid of you. They'll give you honor. V'tainu Ezra gadol omer elu tefillin shvarosh. What did people see on you? It's talking about wearing the tefillin that you're wearing on your head. Yes, Parsha Andasa Aseres ben Haman Amar Avada de Minyafa Aseres ben Haman Aseres ve'Aseres. The names of the 10 children of Haman and the word ve'Aseres afterward. Sarich lemimrinuhu b'neshima achas. You have to say them in one breath. The reader of the Megillah, my time makulu b'hali adali nafkanish vasayah, to allude to the fact that all 10 sons of Haman died exactly the same time. Amar Yochanan Vav de Vaizasa, one of the sons of Haman was Vaizasa. Sarach lemimtechei b'zakifa. You have to make it higher than the other letters. Kemorida the labros, like a morida, like a pole you use to cross over the river of Labros. My time. Kulu b'chad zakifa is the kifu to merames, to hint to the fact that they all were hung on one pole on one tree. Amar Rabbi bar Papa Darash b'shila ish kvar tamrasa kol hashiros kula nichtavos ariach agabe levena levena agabe ariach. All the shiros that were written in the Torah and Nach were written a half brick on top of a whole brick. Levina gabe ariach, meaning there's a space, but there's one line. Then above the line there's a smaller line, and then the next big line is below it. So therefore, it's like a ladder almost. You can climb up. Chutz mishirazu, except from Megillah's Esther, umalchei Knan. Shirazu, when it talks about the Haman died, Amalchei Knan, and the kings of Knan in the Torah, and when Yeshua conquers them, Shariach, Agabe Ariach, the small ones, Agabe Ariach, Levina, Agabe Levina, and it's not like a step. My time, to hint to the fact there should be no standing up, no climbing from their downfall. The downfall should be permanent. The king said to Esther in Shushan, they killed 500 people. It sounds like he was angry. He was saying that, and then the rest of the pasuk is, what can I do for you? What more can I do for you? The Malach came and changed what he's about to say. He didn't get angry. He actually encouraged them to kill more people. I said, Amra, she said. She came to the king. Well, I said, Amar is a Lashon Zachar. Amar Rabbi Yochanan, Amra lo, Yomar B'peh Mash Kasab B'Sefer. She said to him, Yomar B'peh, meaning it should be an edict that people should read the Megillah every year, what was written in the Megillah. A person who reads the Megillah is Amar, a man reads the Megillah. Divrei Shalom Be'emes, Amar B'tancha Amar La Amar B'asi, Melamed Shricha Stirtu Kamis Torah. What's emes? That the Megillah needs stirtu. I mean, you have to engrave a line underneath where you write the letters of the Megillah, just like the truth of a Torah needs that. The truth of a Torah is a real Torah scroll. Maimer Esther Kayim, Maimer Esther in Divrei Atzom was low. He only listened to what Esther said, but fasting not. Amar Rabbi Yochanan Divrei Atzom, meaning these things caused. Maimer Esther, what Esther did, and the Somos caused the salvation. Amar Rabbi Yochanan Divrei Atzomos Maimer Esther Kiyam. No, you have to go back to the beginning of the pasuk where it says Divrei Atzomos and what Esther did, that she asked for the salvation of the Jews. Both of them led to the salvation of Purim. As you may have Purim, Ela Kimorcha Yudi Mishlan Chajraj Regal Yehudim Ratzer Lerov Echo. Lerov Echo, it says for most of his brethren, most of the Jews liked him. Lo Lechol Echo, not everyone. Malamed Shapir Shemen and Mixas Sanhedrin. Some of the Sanhedrin disassociated from him. Amar Yosef Gadol Talmud Torah Yoser Me'atzalas Tefashel. Here, when I get to questions number 2 and number 3, Torah is greater than seemingly Pikuach Nefesh. Originally, Mordechai, what he was mentioned before in Nach, he was the 5th person on Sanhedrin. And after the story of Megillah, of Esther, he was the 6th one. They left Zerubbabel to Eretz Israel to rebuild the base of Megillah. Yeshua, Nehemiah, Saria, Ralia, Mordechai, Bilsha. Mordechai Bilsha was number 5. Zerubbabel, Yeshua, Nehemiah, Saria, Raamia, Nehemani. Mordechai Bilsha, Mordechai Bilsha is 6th. Amar Rav, Yom Rashua, Marasa Gadol Talmud Torah. Yoser Binyan Beis Hamikdash, greater is Torah than building Beis Hamikdash. Chozman Shabaruch Ben Neriah Kayim. Whenever Baruch Ben Neriah was a Rebbe of Ezra, was still around, he was an old man. Lo Inicha Ezra didn't leave him. Va'Allah. To go to Eretz Yisrael to rebuild it, he actually waited 7 years after Daryavish allowed them to go up to the Beis Hamikdash. He waited 7 years. The Zerubbabel went up first, and he went 7 years later. So you have questions 2 and 3 over here. Which is greater, Pikuach Nefesh, Talmud Torah? Seemingly the Gemara says Talmud Torah is greater. If so, why did Mordechai, if Mordechai knew this, Mordechai obviously knew the Gemara, why did he, and the Gemara says, Rov Echav, he was disassociated from part of the Sanhedrin, why did he do this? Why did he engage in trying to bring about the salvation of Purim? He should have left it to natural causes that Hashem would bring about the miracle. Why did he engage in that? Why engage in Pikuach Nefesh? And the second question over here, it says, Go down to Yosef bin Beis Hamikdash. We have a Gemara on Daf Gimel Amud Aleph. If you remember, the Gemara says about 5 lines from the bottom, if you're going to mevatel avoda to go read Mikra Megillah, so too you should mevatel Talmud Torah, Beis Rebbe mevatel Talmud Torah, the Yeshiva Rebbe mevatel Talmud Torah to go here in the Megillah. So you see, avoda is chamura of Talmud Torah. Avoda is thought avoda Beis Hamikdash. So obviously, to build a Beis Hamikdash is more important than learning Torah. So how can the Gemara say over here, you got to Talmud Torah, you also bring the Beis Hamikdash? I want to answer Ian with Ben C on both of these questions, same idea. Gadol does not mean that it's true. It means what people think. Meaning, people think, some people erroneously think, that Talmud Torah is greater. And we remember, Gemara said there's a difference between Talmud Torah, the Rabbim, Talmud Torah, the Yachid. When Ezra was learning Baruch and Neriah, seemingly it's Talmud Torah, the Yachid. So, Talmud Torah, people think Talmud Torah is greater than Talis Nefashos. Really, it's not true. Really, Pikuach Nefesh, obviously, is Docha Kol Mitzvahs Shabbat Torah, including Talmud Torah, except for the Gimel Chamuros. But people think, some people erroneously think, you hear these stories in Auschwitz. These people did everything to keep Yom Kippur. They fasted Yom Kippur. They wouldn't eat pork, or they wouldn't eat horse meat, or they try to bake matzahs or whatever. They tried Neros Hanukkah. People regale about these things and some of them died because of this, because they wouldn't eat on Yom Kippur. Pikuach Nefesh is greater than eating on Yom Kippur. So why are we saying praises about them? A lot of people think that being a saint is a great thing. People think that Mordechai had it right. Mordechai was right. Pikuach Nefesh is you have to make ishtadlus, as much ishtadlus as possible. Ishtadlus is making 100% effort, not 10% effort. He made the real effort. He was right for what he did. People think that, and also people think that Talmud Torah is greater than Avoda, but really the Gemara and Gimel Amud tells the truth that really Avoda is Chamura. It's more serious. It's more, it comes first before Talmud Torah. That will be the answer to Iman Ben Sino for today. Have a good day. Be well. Bye.